Hi everyone, Joel at Codebreak with another episode of Marketing Crack. Today I'm going to be talking about guerrilla marketing. So, guerrilla marketing, what is it? How can it help your business? I think you'll have heard people talk about viral marketing or going viral. Guerrilla marketing is kind of the package around that. You can't really call it viral marketing because viral by its very nature is things that take off when they're unexpected, while guerrilla marketing is very much an expected action. So guerrilla marketing normally comes from smaller businesses who haven't quite got the money to compete with the big boys, but want to do something with impact. So the term really comes from guerrilla warfare, so small bands of unorganized people creating an awful lot of impact. And that's what we're trying to achieve with your marketing. So I'm going to talk you through some of the terms involved in guerrilla marketing, how that can help your business. And then by the end of this, you'll have a clear picture of maybe some of the ideas you could implement for yourselves. Okay, so ambient marketing is one element. You may have seen burger posters, that kind of thing, in tube stations, and you've sort of thought, oh, yeah, that's made me hungry when you see it. Imagine a wet floor sign under that when you get near to it, it actually says in the small print, wet floor due to unintentional drooling. That would be ambient marketing. So that kind of extra thing that makes you smile, makes you remember what's going on, that's ambient marketing. You've probably seen flooring companies put deliberate holes in the floor, pictures of holes on the floor. That would be ambient marketing. So those kind of things that make you chuckle, make you smile, make you remember, that's that. Another one, ambush marketing. So this is where you attend an event that you wouldn't necessarily be expected to be at. So maybe your audience is there, but it's not for your industry. Or maybe your audience isn't there at all, but the amount of PR and attention you'll receive is as good as if your audience was there. So you may or may not have heard of the comedian Lee Nelson. He's the guy who, every time he's got a tour DVD coming out, he kind of ambushes something. So when the Conservative Party had their conference, he was the guy that showed up with the P45 for Theresa May. When FIFA had their conference, he was the guy that threw a bribe at Seb Blatter. So he's always thinking of things to do that are a little bit cheeky. I mean, his examples are a bit extreme. Don't go out there and do those. But things that can really attract attention and really put some numbers through your business without really costing you anything. That's ambush marketing. Another one, experiential marketing. So this is where you give people a taste of what it's like to work with you or have your service. And I've seen an example of this myself. So when I travelled to Canada, in Vancouver, Cushell, the toilet roll company that has the little koala on, they had taken over all the public restrooms in Vancouver. So suddenly you went in and there was much nicer loo roll, there was much nicer sinks, there was really nice deodorant, nice soaps. Some of them even had an attendant. And you created that association. So suddenly you thought, oh, I've had a nice experience, and that was down to Cushell. So that is experiential or experiential marketing. Not quite sure how to pronounce that one. Viral marketing. So we touched on this at the beginning. This is where things kick off without rhyme or reason. So remember the egg on Instagram? That was a post, and it's now the most popular Instagram post ever, had more likes than any other post. That would be an example of going viral. Strategists can probably help you go viral. You know, there's people out there that can definitely foresee kind of trends and help you go viral, but the actual nature of going viral itself is impossible. If you say, I'm going to be a viral influencer, chances are you're not. So just think about these alternative things you can do around your business, and if they do go viral, great. And my last one, be unpredictable. So if people in your industry are always doing things one way, or they're always expected to do things a certain way, you shouldn't necessarily go down that route. So there's big benefits to this too. Do you remember the tuna advert where the bear fought back against the fisherman to get his tuna back? No one was really expecting a kung fu bear in that advert, and certainly I think in the mid-90s when the first version of that advert came out, nobody had really done that in the food industry quite like that. And do you remember the Guerrilla advert for the Cadbury's chocolate where he started playing the drums to Phil Collins? Again, nobody really expected that. Now they're two high-profile, expensive examples, but you know, we know an accountant that launched their own beer. Nobody expects an accountant to do that. Didn't really cost them all that much, but the attention it's garnered and kind of how it's formed the journey of their marketing moving forward is huge. So think about what you could do for your business around that unexpected point. So often SMEs have tight budgets, and that's fair enough, and tight time frames because they've got less people to work on these campaigns. But if you can sort of implement some of this guerrilla marketing, you'll find you can really have a lot of impact and really create a lot of attention. I've seen businesses do this at conferences and they've walked away where they've kind of swept the floor with the attention of the conference when you've seen much, much bigger businesses there. So have a think about what you could do. Have a think about how you can use each of those stages that I've just discussed And if you'd like to know more, book a discovery call with myself or Andy. We'd love to chat guerrilla marketing. All right, take care everyone, stay safe.